In this tutorial, we're going to go through how to add thought bubbles to your cartoon. Okay, so in the down the bottom, you have the rectangle tool. If you hold the mouse button over that and go to custom shape tool, which is down the bottom of the options, we're now going to go up to the top. So again, with every single tool you have different options along the top. And at the top here, you can see that I've got arrows and speech bubbles. Now you won't see that. What you'll see is you'll see this. And so we need to be able to see all the speech and thought bubbles that they have available to us. So this is how you do it. You go up to the top with the little cog here, and you go to down the bottom and choose, where has it gone? Talk bubbles, sorry, down the bottom there, talk bubbles. So we click on talk bubbles. We're not going to append it. We don't really need all of these. We're just going to replace all of these. We can append other stuff later on. And what we get is a varying array of different bubbles there. So I'm going to go with the thought bubble for now. So click on that. And now I can just draw this thought bubble in. Okay. So here we have this thought bubble that I've drawn in. Now it's not exactly in the right space. So we can move that around. I can't move that around immediately because if I do that, if I try and move it and try and click, all that happens is I create a new speech bubble. So I'll undo that. I can do Control Z to undo it, or I can go to history and I can see that I've drawn two shape tools. I just go back one and that's got rid of that one I just did. Okay, so we've got this thought bubble. We need it somewhere else. So the easy way of doing that is go to the move tool and we just pick up this and move it. Now, again, we need the effect of the edge around this. So we go to making sure that our shape is selected because again, we've created a shape and that's created another layer in our layers tab. And we go to layer, layer style and stroke. And again, checking that out, we can give it a 5 stroke there. Now, so move this around, but maybe you want to change the angle of where this comes out from. Maybe if I put it up here, maybe I want to move this out slightly. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom into the area where I want to work on. So maybe I want to move this and this to the right slightly. To do that, we're able to do this because these are vector objects. And to show that, we're going to go down here and the arrow tool, and we've got two options here. We've got path selection and direct selection tool. Now, if it was on path selection, we go down to direct selection. And what that does for us, we can click on each one of these little dots and we can move these dots around. Now, at the moment, we don't want to move each individual dot because if we did that, this is what would happen and it'll look weird. So Control Z, undo that. So what I can do is I can, outside of all of these, I can drag and select all of them. And then I can click on one of them. And now what I'm doing is I'm moving the whole thing around. And again, if I want to move this one, I click and drag and that selects just these because you can see they've gone blue. That leaves these alone. And I can move these around, okay? So as a rule, you don't want to pick them up and just move them one by one because it's just going to look really weird. So go back to the move tool, zoom out, Control minus minus, and so you can see that I've just moved these two out. Okay, now I'm going to add text. So again, I'm going to click on the text tool. I don't have to fill it in there. I can just click here and start typing. And we're going to say, I'm so glad school is over. Okay, so I'm going to move this. Now you can see it doesn't fit. We're not going to stretch. We're going to keep the thought bubbles reasonably in the reasonable shape there are. If they need to be bigger to contain more text, that's fine. But we're not going to kind of squish them. So again, if I click Show Transform Tools and I click on the shape, what I wouldn't do is this and this to make that fit. Okay, that's really not going to work. That's going to look really, really ugly. Okay, so and I just hit escape there to get out of that as I was making that adjustment. I didn't want to keep that adjustment, so I hit escape. So what we're going to do is we're going to reshape the text or reformat the text to more suit the speech bubble. So I click on the T tool and we'll say, I'm so glad school is over. And what we're also going to do is we're going to select all. So actually Control A selects all, and we're going to make it centered. So up the top in the T tool, because we're in the text tool, we've got all the options of text. We're going to hit the centered button, check that everything's correct, Comica hand, regular, and 7-point. And now I'm going to move that here. I'm so glad school is over. Now, your speech bubble is too big. Now we can resize it, but we're not going to do a squishy resize. We're going to hold down the Shift key and we're going to resize this and hit the tick. And now what we've got is something that suits. Now, if we want this further down, we don't have to move that and then move that. You know, we don't have to do that. What we can do is we can select this one and then hold down the hold down the Shift button and click Shape 1, which is both the text, I'm so glad school is over, to Shape 1, which is the shape behind it. Now, if you've got the Show Transform tool, you'll see that everything's selected. And now, because both of those are selected, I can click anywhere in here and I can move both of them together. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm just going to make a change on the text tool. Now, this so, maybe we could go to so and make it bold italic. That's something you can do. So that's something you can do within some of your text if you want to really stress some of this stuff. Bold, italic. I'm actually going to make it just bold. So you can do that. That's an option. But you'll notice that we've centered the text and we've formatted it in a kind of a circular way as the speech bubble or the thought bubble is. It's kind of organized so it's in this circle. So we've got short, longer, shorter again. And try and form your sentences like that. Now, obviously, some of the sentences are going to be quite long. That means your bubble is going to be quite big, but you still should format them in a rough kind of similar way and center everything to that speech or thought bubble. So that's something you need to consider. So at this point, our first image is done. We've got some text to explain what's going on, a thought bubble, and then we would start on the next one. You should work at this based on your plan because you've already got the text and everything worked out. So you should be able to build it up bit by bit, or you can lay out all the graphics and then add the text. That's up to you. But this will give you a good idea of what's going on. Make sure you go File, Save. Oh, sorry, not Save As. File, Save. As you go along. We don't ever have to do save as again because we're in this document. It will just save over what you'd done previously, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, so you see we've got these layers. We've got the white background layer. We've got the image. So we're building this up bit by bit. Now remember, the next image you start will be here. So you'd add another strip here. Another image would be here, and the layers would grow up, go up and up this layers tab. Okay, in the next video, we'll go through how to add a speech bubble.